trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. They're gonna deflect. See why it's gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
The beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Sagafort is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Pulse Bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Starting the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
It is another week of Season 14 here in CGL, and another week of playoffs where 2 teams will decide who's going to move up to that upper bracket finals and who is going to drop down to the second round of the lower. It is going to be a back and forth competition. It's going to be intense. Both these teams have been fighting long and hard throughout the past couple of months, trying to make it to this point, and now they will come face to face in a fight to see who is going to move on and who is going to have to go fight for their life. And it should be a fantastic one here today. Thank you very much for joining us here on this lovely afternoon, evening, wherever you might be in the world. I'm Hunter Tang, joined today by Spectreon. And Spectreon, we got an amazing match here today between Yuurei Mirai and Big Man Ting. And we talked in length about this match, everything these teams have been able to accomplish throughout the regular season. This has every realism to think that this could be a very close one, because these are 2 extremely tough teams going head-to-head.
Yeah, I think there's a very reasonable argument to be made that these 2 teams, combined with probably Completely Melted, are probably the top 3 in the EU PC Open bracket. So watching these 2 clash in this Winners 3 matchup, in this Winners Round 2, is extremely exciting. Obviously, we get a chance to see exactly how this game is going to play out, the winner of which is going to go forth to play Completely Melted. And that, gotta say, that Winners final matchup, could just be grand finals material in of itself, right? Mm-hmm. And the loser is going to drop to play 0907. Should they win that, they'll have they will be playing Everfrog. So a hard gauntlet for the losing team to run, but it will be teams they've got a decent experience against either way. I think either way, though, I'm just excited to see how this plays out. I wonder if we can just go a little bit faster in, if we can take a look at the rosters to put them under a microscope, as it were. Exactly who is on both of these teams and what they can do in the server, I think, is the real question, right?
I mean, it 100% is, and obviously we have been great to see these teams on a screen multiple times throughout the season as well, so we have gotten quite familiar with them. So we're going to give both these teams a nice in-depth look, because, again, 10 very fantastically, just players that have just done amazing things throughout the season. Again, we will state it 100 times over, but 100 times honestly might not be enough to even say how good of a job they've really done and how much they are individually kind of considered favorites in their own right. And it really is one of those questions, Spec, because I mean, we are men of predictions. We are men who are obviously correct all the time. We've never been wrong in our entire life here today. But again, it feels like we have to look at these teams and say this could be very close. This could genuinely go either way here. And you got to think of how one of them is going to react if they end up dropping down to the lower bracket, have to fight for their life. But either way, we can stall as much as we want. But especially when we finally get an opportunity to break down this team. So why don't we start it out here with some Yuurei Mirai?
Yeah, see what they've got to play here. Piku Kerpu, Zero, Santi, Desi, and Scenics have been a fantastic team all throughout this season in general. I think Piku Kerpu on the hit scan has probably been my most stand-up member. I'd say Santi on the tank, probably my second most, as memory serves. Obviously, though, hit scan, not really a role that can have that much impact in this meta unless you do well, you are Quartz, right? It's a huge bar to try and live up to. See if Piku can do it in this patch, in this meta, against a team like Big Man Ting. Because, you know, on the other side of the server, I gotta say, there's a very scary hit scan threat in her own right. Obviously, I think Zero as well can come up with some huge moments. Genji being a comfort hero is exactly what you love to see. Especially considering how strong he can be with the Malga, but we'll have to wait and see if that's what they end up playing. See if we can take a gander at the other team now, take a look at Big Man Ting. And obviously the player and everyone's name, Sonda is fantastic, right? On the Bastion, it's one of his best heroes. I mean, we were just talking about him earlier as one of the few islandish players in general, and pretty nice guy, if I do say so myself. I always have a great time hanging out with him. I'm looking at the roster we have in the lobby now. It looks like it's slightly different to what they have supplied. I think that we've got Senna, who is going to be playing DPS. Gehek, I assume, is going to be on tank. So Senna on the hit scan, with Sonda maybe on Bastion. I don't know. That's a huge, huge threat level, because if anyone has ever seen Senna play, you know she's nuts.
I mean, you have every reason to believe that. You watch her play just one time, you come into that mindset. That's what some of these players are able to do. You're able to watch them just once and immediately have this realization of, oh, this is a threat. This is not a person I want to run into in my lobby, and is a person that I am grateful to be able to watch every single time they can come on to the screen. But of course, all these members very much talented in their own right here. But we know in this meta, and a lot of metas that have existed within Overwatch, DPS can take over and make the lobby their own. Especially we go over to this hybrid escort maps where that hit scan can really start to become king and really start to have a lot of impact. But that's the bright side of things being here at the playoffs. It is a lot of the losers' picks. So when we get to that second, third, fourth, and beyond, you know, the losers will be able to pick their own map. We'll be able to take things directly where they want to be able to do so. Because Spectrum, with us being in the playoffs, they are not just picking the map we go to. They are picking the mode as well. So if you wanted to get something out of the way immediately, or if you wanted to immediately go to your best map out the gate to get some kind of advantage, you have every right and every ability to be able to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see exactly what stars these teams run out on then. We can maybe talk about what they're going to choose after that. Obviously, we saw in Stockholm a lot of teams would just go towards the same kind of front-to-back maps to maximize the value you can get on that Malga Mirror, right? So we saw lots of King's Rows, lots of Shambali monasteries, obviously a lot of Lijiang Tower, as well as we feels like we always do. Going to be starting off here. I think one player to watch other than the kind of standard DPS stars is going to be Alba. You know, my first contact with Alba, my first time getting to be aware of this main support player was Epic 43, where he put on an absolute clinic on a team with Senna as well to defeat Exoblivione in pretty dominant fashion, honestly. A fantastic Brigitte player, and probably, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say maybe even next up here. So see exactly how he decides to approach, because we know how pivotal Brig can be in these compositions, what you can do with rallies, but especially Alba could be huge. In terms of what we're seeing, Sonda, Reaper, Senna on the Sombra, EMP value going to be huge. Piku on the Ashe, a comfort pick for him, but might be very squishy.
Yeah, it very much will be, and obviously that Sombra variant is kind of coming out once in a while. I think it's a little bit risky in comparison, but I think it can still have the value that you're hoping for. You managed to get into that Malga 1v1, you hack somebody down. That Malga really stands no chance at using their cardiac overdrive to be able to kind of sustain themselves. So, has to be done right now. As the point is going to unlock. Big Man Ting currently trying to rally for that position, slowly pushing out of the white room and making their way on. Sonder already sitting super low. Gonna have to get forced out here right now. Is right now Piku kind of sitting over here on the sideline, hot-shotting away right now, able to get away with a lot because, I mean, there's nobody that can really go after them in this situation outside of the Reaper, as eventually we do see the trade-off come through here, but Santi is going to go down first and foremost. Heck, going to get all the value in the world now. Nothing to really stop them. Looks like Big Man Ting is going to start the cleanup process here, and it is a long one, but it looks like eventually they should be able to do so, as, again, we're getting trade-off after trade-off at the end of the day, but that just means it's ending in a very messy way.
Oh, Jesse being able to live there is lovely, but yeah, we'll be back to at least 4 now. Yeah, a bit of a mistake there from Big Man Ting playing for this slower fight. Unless you charge EMP, the Ashe is going to find more value than the Sombra, so it's a small miracle Gehek can find that great Malga engage. Ult's online though, this is where Big Man Ting's comp is going to be stronger.
I mean, 100% is right now. Sonder trying to get really close. Everybody is within the 80+ marker overall here, trying to find them. It's going to be very important, as we're going to see the EMP ready to go, but can't off. And that is just going to eliminate things out the Gareth there. Santi, last person remaining. Going to see if they can get out. They barely aren't able to. That's going to be a nice pick there by Senna to close off the fight. And bright side for them, only Wall Ultimate gets expended.
Yeah, I guess silver lining for Yuurei Mirai, Senna doesn't use the EMP to cleanse the cage. They can't use it with refresher tool anymore, but they can still go blow for blow otherwise. So Big Man Ting, not too worried as they go again with the rally.
I mean, immediately right now, Rally, we do see right now, Alt's kind of popping up. Desi going to go with that orbital ray as well, but they're starting to run right through right now as it comes out the other side. IQ Mighty going to use their own. We have the Bob being thrown into the equation as well. Both teams wanting to give everything to win this fight right now, but it's Big Man Ting that is falling apart one at a time. Looks like Yuurei Mirai will come away at the end of the day, 73% online. Both teams trading, I believe, 2 or 3 ultimates a piece right there, and now it's just matching ultimates on both sides.
If I'm Big Man Ting, I made a big mistake there, in my opinion, not going for that orbital ray a little bit earlier. IQ Mighty tried to get it in a little bit later to kind of boost the advantage that you garner, but instead, going early is the entirety of Yuurei Mirai.
Yeah, and here comes the double out the gate here. Sander has gotten rid of him right now. It's going to be thrown back the other way, and unfortunately, it's not going to get as much value as you would hope from Zero. The trade goes the way of Big Man Ting, so that's going to be a 1-fight take back there. Only going to be able to muster around 29-30% for Yuurei Mirai. Now, Big Man Ting only 1 fight away, and an EMP just around the corner.
They can set this up pretty quickly here. Yuurei Mirai know they have to go as fast as humanly possible here, and Senna just going to have an EMP in time. This is going to be incredibly tricky. Hard shooting the Sombra has to be objective number 1.
Yep, right now they know what's coming up here. If you're all tracking correctly, you know this is online. They are looking for Senna, but they're going to go with EMP's going to come out. Going to get Coach Gunned away. It's still going to catch on to 4. Desi Senti going back to the sidelines very quickly, and now is just hoping to get the overtime touches, hoping to create as much stall as possible. Unfortunately, it's just PQ and the break ready to go for the touch. Unfortunately, it is not going to happen, so Big Man Ting taking a lot of advantage with this Sombra, taking that 130 to get us started here. And this Sombra working out way better than it does in some cases right now. That EMP finding monster value both times.
I think Sombra is probably the 3rd, 4th best DPS right now in this composition, right? I think maybe even better than the Genji. I think the amount of value you get from EMP is just so high. You kind of are willing to take that loss of the frontline damage that maybe an Echo would provide. Obviously, the Sombra is much more comfortable in the 1v1 than an Echo, than an Ashe. So that's another tick in her column. And I think Senna as well is just fantastic the hero. We're seeing great work coming through. And even though Big Man Ting, you know, their DPS generally are more known for their individual flashy mechanical plays, they're getting the same value done on more team-oriented heroes. Pharah from Zero, not something you see every day.
It's not, but the Pharah has come out occasionally. I think we saw the biggest example if we look back over at, look back at the Twisted Minds team who kind of came out and ran the Pharah to kind of combat the cage fight right there, but are going to take a big advantage here. Already going to be turning this into a 5v4 in their advantage right now. Cardiac Overdrive is going to be used as Senti barely going to be able to get out of there alive. The heck though, is it a bit of a rough situation? Desi, people manages to take them out, and now all they have to do is refuel. You can give up the point for now, but you can re-engage here very quickly.
Getting split from your backline makes it borderline impossible here. So yeah, Albert already going to be eliminated. The rest of Big Man Ting will go back to spawn. Gehek makes a huge mistake, and already Zero getting 70% of the right to a barrage is lovely here for Yuurei Mirai. It's going to fulfill very much the same role in this composition that maybe a Death Blossom with. You know, a little bit more damage than that particular ultimate in exchange for having lesser survivability, but watch for it to come out when either Malga goes for the cage, when everyone's trapped inside that same space. That's when Zero is going to let fly.
Yeah, and Joe's going to get this way ahead of time as well, way before Gehek is going to have this. So now, this is kind of a situation where it's great to have it this early, but it's not going to have as much value until those situations kind of come into play here right now. The engagement is going to come through. Gehek got to find nothing right there in that situation as they eventually going to force their way further and further onto the point. Would have find something, but Alba's in a really bad position. Luckily, he's going to get some care to keep them going. Yes, again, Ting eventually going to go in all in, but the barrage is there. He's basically going to force them back, and Sauter, unfortunately, decides to wander back in and gets taken out. Gehek, but entering the unwinnable 1v1 situation here. Alba does manage to find one. Unfortunately, Numbers game has already played its factor. Alba eventually going to be sent back to the room. Senna likely not going to be too far behind as they're going to try to escape. Looks like they will be able to, but already 50% and higher. And ult advantage currently, I was going to say sitting in their area, but it is definitely about to be there.
Yeah, great barrage there from Zero. I said it should be used for the cage. Instead, use it to stop the walk through the Juna ult. That ult plays no value at all. Cage is going to stop Sombra from walking, but they cage it.
They do. They go both ways with it in that situation. And right now, It's right now Alba and Nyx right now both trying to stay alive, have these rallies online ready to go, keeping at them right now, but they're getting forced back more and more. Eventually, they maintain forcing the way over to the point. Gonna see if a re-engaging comes through. It's at the last second, but they're gonna get caught inside right now. Sonder has managed to find one, trying to find a second right now as Santi doing everything they can to survive in this era right now. Unfortunately, it's gonna be just them right now, leading at the end of the day. 92% going to be on the board for them, though. Back in one fight territory as they take the reset. And the bright side is the alt rotation is just gone back to square one.
But they have the lead on that orbital array is the big thing here. They'll be able to charge up an EMP probably about at pace with the barrage as well if Senna does her job right. So Big Man Ting, they play their ults smart, they play their ults right, should be able to hold this. But that's to say nothing about a mechanical play coming through from either of Zero or Piku Kerpo.
Yep. Speaking of Zero, 80% right now. Gonna have this barrage ready to go here pretty shortly. Honestly, we'll have only, probably only a couple seconds away, realistically speaking, as Heck gonna have to get out of there. Gonna have to extend right now as the boop's gonna come through. Doesn't actually catch anybody, no. But the point is going to flip right now. They're gonna go and chase right now on Sonder, who's sitting super low. Senna in a similar situation, but here it comes, our orbital array. Nixon get deleted almost instantaneously right now as the 4v4 online right now. Barrage is ready. Zero immediately gets rid of two, but unfortunately, Sensi has also gone down, and now this fight is all over the place right now. But the problem is, Heck is still alive, and without your tank there, it's going to be nearly impossible. And now, Big Man Ting, another lease on life, and another EMP on the corner.
You're not too upset about that if you're Big Man Ting. Obviously, you give over flip. That really sucks. Maybe means another fight comes through and you have to use your orbital ray, but you trade it out for at least a barrage and you maintain control. You maintain your EMP.
Yep, 100%. Cage fight gets used instantaneously as the EMP has to be used by Senna, but catches members, but unfortunately, Zero's the only one to go down, and now for Big Man Ting, it could be falling apart. The Bob going to be activated. Miku barely going to survive to get that Mega online. The Bob having its impact, forcing people onto the outside right now, but Sports doing a really good job staying alive right now, trying to avoid the cover fire right now, but 99% as it flips back over Alpha. They just cannot take you around, but Big Man Ting is taking back this fight slowly but surely. Unfortunately, they're going to fall over, and now it's going to come down to one final fight. And I mean, the single bright side for you, Yuurei Mirai, you have the orbital array essentially ready to go.
If you're Alba, that's such a great hero play there. I mean, you see why heaps of that praise on him. Goes, finds the 1v1 with, I think it was Piku on that really wide angle. Just takes a walk away from the fight, and because of that, we're at last fight territory. Sonder's Blossom has to be played for.
Has to be right now, and orbital ray likely to be used momentarily here to push along the path. He has been used orbital ray online. Saunders in a rough position right now as they're going to have to try to escape, and now at this point you almost have to consider letting the point completely flip over in this sense right now and setting up a touch afterwards, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to go in. It's going to get deleted instantaneously, and Zero already a 2K of their name, and it's all falling apart here, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be going to a third round here after just a little bit more stall from Alba, but they play it perfectly. And that's going to be that third round coming to fruition. Sonder, unfortunately, going in and getting instantaneously vaporized.
Yeah, I think it was partially just kind of where he was walking, taking a bit of a wider angle, I think, than his tank, and also not having that cardiac overdrive to give that damage reduction, to give that lifesteal over to the Reaper. So pops it and just gets instantly flattened, not expecting that burst damage from Zero. Yuurei Mirai labored, at least, but able to make it 1-1. And I gotta say, this composition with the Ash Farah, you know, kind of ripped from that Twisted Mind style, in theory, is going to be a lot more effective here. So I'd be a bit worried if I am Big Man Ting. I'd be thinking about what adjustments to make. I think typically the counterplay is essentially to go faster, to run quicker, to put all the pressure onto Santi, because in these slow fights, that's when the DPS are going to find their value.
Yeah, and the picks are going to be the exact same in this situation right now. Nothing really changing up. And Zero still being on that forest, still going to try to find all that insane value that they've been able to find so far throughout that second map right now, especially looked at those barrages. Barrages, not an ultimate that usually finds a whole lot of value, but Zero making it work in this sense right now is that point opening up here in a few seconds away. Big Man Ting seem to be in a better position to be able to kind of take things over right now as the hack's going to come through. Santi going to get forced back here, but going to be able to stay alive with relative ease right now, and now point being taken over by Big Man Ting. Gonna see if there's a touch. There won't be quite yet, so point is gonna go over to them essentially for free, and Spectreon, they're finally gonna move in on this situation right now. Gonna see if they can find anything on both ways. Zero in a rough position with that hack, but has managed to survive in this situation. But I mean, Spectreon, like I said, this fight is going on forever right now, and for Big Man Ting, you're fine with it. You are nearly about to have your orbital ray online.
And you're about to catch Piku.
Yeah, and Santi goes down, and now that fight is essentially over unless somebody finds a pick at this very moment, but it is not going to happen. So good for you. You build it up, and that means Heck is also going to have this ult way ahead of Santi in the situation.
Yeah, just getting far more involved there. Yuurei Mirai played far too hard for their poke, and honestly, the DPS just kind of didn't shoot anything as well. Ult's going to be in line for both of these teams, so an accurate ult track, a strong fight plan is going to be essential here.
Yeah, they're going to go in immediately around this Robo Droid, trying to buy some space, but it's going to be thrown back the other way. Right now, Zero has this barrage, waiting for a moment, waiting to see if they come out. They're going to send it through. It's going to try to catch on to somebody. Alba and Senna will both be able to go down. That's going to be disastrous right now. Santi going to help clean things up, and that's going to end things right here. But good thing right now for Big Man Ting is they get over the point here a little bit more style. Going to be able to stop it just before that 60% marker, but 4 really big ultimates going to be on the way.
Yeah, Big Man Ting, you don't like giving that fight over, but you'll take it. Obviously, the Fire Ult has been a huge threat to them, but now they've got the EMP for the cage. They can hack out the Bob should it come through. Obviously, Senna dying here is not ideal, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be much than a couple percentage points to Yuurei Mirai. The big thing that's going to be important is this next fight. Big Man Ting, if they do win it, need to win it economically. The same could be said of the defenders.
Yeah, 100% correct in this situation. This is going to be a very important fight because there's a big chance that this ult economy is going to be used very heavily by both teams, and they're going to go with that speed. We're going to see the cage fight be used on both. EMP is ready to go, waiting to use it right now, and the timing is going to be used correctly right now. They're getting deleted one by one. Just Desi and PQ remaining on the point. Gonna get deleted, and it's like we said, big ultimate economy being used. That was a 7 ultimate fight in that situation, and Big Man Ting will dominantly come out the winners of it.
That they will. I mean, it's not so bad that you spent everything if your opponents did too, but I am a little bit worried about that barrage of Zero. 2/3 of the way there already. What can they do to counter it out this time?
I mean, there's not a lot of big options, and the thing is, you have to eventually force them inside and find an opportunity to use it, because you can't use it out in the open like this. You will just get deleted instantly, or at the very least, you're going to get hacked away as Alba finds a pretty relatively good pick there, and unfortunately, for Yuurei Mirai, they kind of have to stick in a little bit and kind of rough this out and try to live, because if you pull out, getting back in is going to be so wildly difficult as the collapse. He's going to be coming through right now, running them down, but Heck, maybe biting off a little more than they can chew right now as Zero going to pretty much solo barrage on Heck.
Right on this fancy.
Honestly, yeah, you just have to make sure to get rid of them. But yeah, now it's a non-tank battle Spectron. This could genuinely go either way.
IQ, yeah, pops the orbital ray. That's going to be able to zone so much space. Can Yuurei Mirai kite this, or will anyone go down?
Yep, they've had to set up stalls right now. Destiny has to get this all online right now. That is priority number 1, is they're going to die to be able to make a touch happen right now. Destiny has it online. JG's going to come back over on the Doomfist as Piku is not going to make it over to make a health back, unfortunately, and now it could all be falling apart, and it 100% will be. It's just the support surviving on the point. Unfortunately, a nice little death blossom to clean things up. Big Man Ting will take away Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, that was a fantastic point of play for them there. Just able to clutch it up in the end. Obviously, they take that heavy ultimate fight, and having enough lead there, able to get it over the line in that final battle. Trading out the tank is huge, huge value. I've got to say, I was so impressed by Senna's ability to find that final blow. I think it was just down on a couple points of HP was that tank, and as he goes down, then as to do the kind of odds of Yuurei Mirai, obviously just not having the orbital ray. You're in a 4v4, both down tanks. One team's got a ray that's going towards Big Man Ting every day of the week, but I think we teed this up as a close game, didn't we, Hunter? And so far it is absolutely delivering.
I mean, it 100% is. Again, we kind of saw peaks of dominance from both teams. We also saw some of the mistakes from both teams as well. So at this point, especially if you're somebody who's in this game, you're kind of coming to the realization of what has worked, what hasn't worked, what should we try to do more, what should we even try to do less. And again, that's the bright side of being here in the playoffs, is you get to choose your map and your mode. You get to dictate very much where you want to go here, and you're not limited by 2 or 3 maps. You have at least over a dozen maps at your disposal to be able to go to. So at this point, it's determination of where you want to go in the situation, because the reality is we're likely going to stay in a situation where, again, most of these characters are going to stick almost permanently. I think there's maybe a couple of maps where it'd be different, but Spectron, it's the tried and true. I don't think anything is going to change up in this situation in terms of what we've seen as characters. It is going to be King's Row, and Mauga is going to very much stay present.
Yeah, I think King's Row isn't a bad choice if you want to continue playing this Fire Ash style, especially kind of first point, right? You've got extended start lines, some wider angles. The Mauga is kind of forced to run straight to the objective. So it's going to work out pretty effectively, honestly. Second point is less good. You still have decent Ashe sightlines, especially when you're kind of fighting for Arch. Your Pharah is pretty okay to stage through these rooftops, and even though it's a little bit harder than when she had that infinite flight, it's still pretty doable. Last point is, again, it's okay with these longer sightlines. I think the important thing, though, when you are playing this Pharah Ashe, is making sure your Malga can live for long enough for your Pharah Ashe to actually find value, right? Because the thing with you're playing this Reaper, especially Reaper Echo, still with Reaper Sombra, you're just looking to blow up the front line. So if you are Yuurei Mirai, again, it's going to be about staying alive, staying active, and if you're Big Man Ting, again, taking these faster fights is going to be as valuable as possible. It's a little bit easier. Now, there aren't so many flanks to worry about, you know, compared to a Legion Tower, perhaps, but that range instead is going to be the big killer.
I mean, 100% is, and we've seen kind of the transformation of King's Row over the time as well, where the Ashe has become a character that honestly has had a level of domination on King's Row. There's a lot of high grounds that you're able to work with and maneuver around, especially looking at that first point. So, realistically, one of the strongest defenses they're going to be able to have is realistically that first point here, as we get things started, the lovely nighttime of King's Row out here. So it's always aesthetically pleasing looking at King's Row, I will say, be able to sit here, even though I've seen this map who knows how many times, I've seen it for how many years. It always looks just as fantastic. Finding new things always sitting about, but not a lot of new things in terms of characters, as it looks like both teams, as we'll see shortly here, nothing looking horribly different. Big Head Ting is...
Zenyatta?
Wait, man, Megalast is having PTSD right now.
No, I like this, honestly. It kind of goes towards the idea of the comp, because you're not really playing to brawl anyway, so the packs are the only nice part about Brig, if you're not playing to brawl ever. So in exchange, you just go for raw numbers, you go for raw damage. You've got, instead of the armor packs, you've got the Orb of Harmony, which is arguably more effective for healing these DPS, in exchange for being a little bit worse at helping Santi. But you've got Discord as well, just to ruin Gehex Day. So the DPS of Big Man Ting, Senna and Sunder, I'm very curious to see if they adjust their playstyle, right? Instead of just playing to burn Santi, maybe put some more pressure onto Desi or Piku, who maybe won't respond to that as well.
Yeah, something we're able to see here, as well as obviously this fight will develop very slowly to begin, but when things actually go into work, it's going to happen very fast, very quickly right now. You gotta wonder what the transition is going to be like, and one of them might just be forcing the point and forcing somebody to go down.
Oh, great spy check.
Ooh, phenomenal. And now, again, this will be slow developing, but eventually they're going to charge right in and try to take this away, but gotta be patient on that.
Yeah, waiting for their cooldowns to fall, but they engage. Dynamite's not going to hit, actually. But Sonder's going to have to back. Look at the HP, in fact. They've got blended.
Yeah, that is done and dusted. Desi has got rid of two in that situation, and now it is just all falling apart. That is a quick fight.
That's a lightning fast fight, actually, from Yuurei Mirai. You take a look at whose ult is higher to see who's got that work done. It is just Piku and Zero poking them out. Big Man Ting already struggling. They recognize that attacking the high grounds may be no bueno, so instead Sunder moves over to the Genji for the backline pressure. Senna's on a patented Widowmaker. I'd be quaking my boots, to be honest, if I was Yuurei Mirai.
Yeah, they abandoned that strategy very quickly, but I don't hate it at all. You might as well go for it. Let Senna and Sunder do what they do best in this situation right now. Nearly already going to try to take off a head here of Big, but either way, gotta wait for that first pick to come through, because right now, putting Suppress is on the point, trying to get something working right now. Basanti still has all the ability to stay up, but against Spec, it's going to come down to that first pick, and unfortunately, it's not going to find a whole lot of value right here. Sunder will go down. Only one tick going to be on board, but at least you get something.
Yeah, almost find the headshot as well onto Piku, but he'll live on a sliver of HP. There's not enough charge on that Widowmaker to find that elimination. Gehek makes another change, or maybe one I didn't notice. The Diva, though, is going to be coming out, so obviously some adaptation is coming through. They've got the Ray as well, but Zero is very likely to looking to barrage it. This time, though, that defense matrix could change the tide.
Yep, and right now, okay, we're seeing a second tick be online as the drop's going to come through. This is what they want. They want Santi to be able to drop down, kind of give themselves more value in this fight right now. Sunder, a rough situation right now is IQ Mighty going to go in, try to find something here. It's a heck of a rough situation. Sunder does manage to get rid of Santi, and now they're all trapped inside of here with Zero, who's going to get rid of two, gets traded out, and now...
Money Blaster.
But this fight is... Oh, what? And
They're just killing people.
No one can hide.
It's back and forth. It's so chaotic. Oh, Senna! Oh, no! They're not aware. They have no clue.
They lack the critical information, and that's why it is nearly done and dusted. We're going to see Santi return, but, I mean, I think this might be for... What? I was going to say this might be for...
Hack.
I was going to say this might be... Yeah, I was gonna say, this might be for naught, but like this fight is very much still alive. But Senna does manage to find one. It's just the baby kind of hanging around on the point. We do see the high ground right now, Ash right now. as Speaker's just gonna have to drop and die, and Big Man Ting finally gonna take things back over.
I was back and forth. That was chaotic. I don't think either of us really knew what was quite happening there. But, you know, when all is said and done, obviously Big Man Ting are able to get the payload moving. They are able to extend play. And they're able to do it in a manner which is suitably them, I think. Chaotic and requiring a bit of center magic, but it gets the job done. Double supporters obviously active for Yuurei Mirai. These are going to be a huge threat, as Big Man Ting don't really have any ability to trade out with them. If I'm Sonda, as just getting both ultimates out with a blade is probably all the value I'm actually looking for. This one might have to be a gimme for Yuurei Mirai.
Yeah, it's something we're gonna have to see here in the situation. Sander, while they do have the blade, Desi has the ultimate get out of jail free card for the entirety of their team right now. His YRE is going to be used. Unfortunately, all it's gonna do is result in pushing them back. So for Big Man Ting, I mean, it's just a glorified reset.
Yeah, you absolutely take that if you're Big Man Ting. Using Ray just to burn like 10-15 seconds is just not worth it. And now we're at Blade versus Trans. This is a much more reasonable fight for Big Man Ting to try and win.
Yeah, 100% now. You lose that big kill right now. You kind of have Desi again. Has to be the sole proprietor of keeping their team alive when these ultimates come out here right now. But in this situation, IQ Mighty is trying to play for their own orbital array, already sitting at 80+%. And Sonder, they have this blade, but they know they can't do a lot in this situation unless they find separation like that right there. And they're just trying to see if they can get there. Desi is going to get that ultimate as they trade out. And Santi literally just winning with that engagement. So now 4v4 is both teams going to regroup really fast.
Yeah, see which team that finds an advantage for, but I would expect it to be Yuurei Mirai. You know, losing out on pretty much your main source of damage makes it incredibly tricky for Big Man Ting to continue to hang. Senna needs to find a headshot if they want to continue staying in this fight until they wait for Sonda now on that Reaper to get back into the mix.
Yep, Zero immediately losing the head there for a moment right now. Santi could be in the same situation. Desi is down, and that means you can start to go off the wheels in this fight and get things rolling away. You already got people low. Santi gonna drop down. Zero has no dog in this fight, is not going to be able to even get out alive, and it's just PQ, last person on the scene, but it looks like they have gotten out of town. Big Man Ting going to be able to take back over.
It's going to get a lot easier for Senna on this Widowmaker as well. Now we're getting into this last point, right? There's much fewer flanks to get onto. The sight lines are going to be a little bit longer. The map widens out a little bit, so I think we're going to see Senna only gain more and more powerful the deeper into King's Row we get.
Yeah, it make a lot of sense in the situation as Set's going to go online for Senna. Can make it hard for PQ or Zero to really peek around as Zero being over on that Genji. Gonna give them more mobility in this situation and be able to work a little bit better right now, especially at the 12 over to their own diva. But either way, it's just Senna looking for the headshot, looking for the shot that can open up this fight, and PQ needs to be very careful not to take their head out like that is. That's gonna get things moving away. Nearly gonna lose your head as well as Desi is. They're gonna use the Transcendence right there. Gotta keep that fight alive right now. Nyx needs to try to hold on to his ultimate, but you can't use the ultimate if you're dead, Smash-Shot. And now this is all beginning to fall apart here. Senna, though, does end up dropping down as Big Man Ting. Again, they don't have the close respawn. Yuurei Mirai can get back very quickly.
Yeah, but they are trading out. They will be able to force Picard at least for a little bit. So one fight territory, that much is guaranteed.
100% is in the situation, and again, back fourth as we see right now, but again, ult advantage is currently sitting on Yuurei Mirai. Gonna use that Bob right there, kinda early, gonna see if they can force out. Sonder might not get out alive, but the DM will be able to secure a quick reset.
And the ring as well going to help. Albert needs to survive on the Zenyatta, who's an incredibly squishy target, and maybe one he's reconsidering given the Diva Reaper, or Diva Genji, sorry, on the other side of things. Walk's coming through though with the Ray.
Ooh. Yeah, they're going to go in, and that fight is as over as it could have ever been. It's going to come to a close, and now it will stagger on a couple of people. That is a quick fight, quick win for Yuurei Mirai.
Yeah, Sonda gets his one, but at the end of the day, they use their raid, they get a fight win. Minute left to go. Now Rayless into IQ Mighty. Senna moves over to the Genji. Big Man Ting know what ultimate they're playing for. They know exactly how they're going to do this. It's just going to be a raid fight that they put all their eggs into, but it is only the one basket.
Yep, and now we have a Blade back online here. This time not going to have any sort of, they don't really save them in a situation. Big Man Ting, they obviously are going to have a couple of really good ultimates, but that Blade has a lot of value. But PQ are going to find value over on this Widowmaker, trying to take it to them at this point. Nearly take Alba's head off as they're going to get forced out. Unfortunately, it's not going to find value. And now one fight left on board. Big Man Ting have to take advantage of these ultimates.
A touch is going to be relatively easy for them, especially with, you know, Sonda, Gehek, Senna all having abilities to touch out. Getting picked here would be an absolute no, though. So Piku could have the game in the palm of his hand as he goes for a wide peek.
100%. And you said it's all about getting that first and foremost. Very likely just going to be a heck of the situation. Blade is going to be online. Going to send out that orbital ray right now as Piku gets taken down, and Zero is not finding the value that they would hope for out of this play. Going to get forced around, hiding around as that touch has come through. Overtime is activated. Zero trying to stay alive, and now this thing comes through, and now Yuurei Mirai just have one fight left to go to try to
They'll have a touch. I'm not sure they'll have a proper fight as such, right? These overtime spawns are absolutely brutal. Santi's still in spawn, and Piku might reach it in time. So they'll be able to touch all right, but into the Blossom, into the bomb, close to Alba's rally. Big Man Ting surely are completing here.
Yeah, but it's right now. Thunder on the point. They're eventually going to get stunned out thanks to Desi right now, but it's all going to happen fast right now for Big Man Ting. They're falling one by one on the side of Yuurei Mirai. Bomb to perhaps end things out right here. Bomb not going to quite find the value it's hoping for once again as the spawns are close. Nyx is going to be able to get back out very quickly. Unfortunately, there's just too much damage for the side of Big Man Ting. They're going to take this in overtime, give themselves a new lease on life, and now Yuurei Mirai forced to respond.
Yeah, they're able to get it over the line. Obviously, they just have a huge ult advantage there. The attempt to go early from Yuurei Mirai doesn't go in their favor, unfortunately. You know, maybe 2020 vision, full hindsight, they could have just went early with no ultimates, tried to refight secondly after forcing Big Man Ting to spend, but you know, that's purely with the benefit of hindsight. As it stands, they did a pretty good job trying to make that defense work. That first point especially looked pretty constricting, honestly, for Big Man Ting to attempt to play into. We see exactly how far they had to vary from their game plan to actually get any bite into the map, right? They started on essentially full meta with the Sombra, ended with how many people on the same heroes, right? Just IQ Mighty. Because we see Senna move over to the Widow, the Genji. Sonda messes around with the Genji, the Reaper. Gehek is on the Diva. Alba's on the Zen. It's wholesale changes that we have to see to actually find that same level of success. Yuurei Mirai forced them to work, but unfortunately just not enough to find a full stop. But OT, decent work. If we see a finish in more than a minute, then Big Man Ting will be forced to only defend, to only tie, which is a huge amount of pressure. And they flirt with the idea, do Big Man Ting, of playing a Senna Echo for that full meta, but they realize the value that she can put out on that pure hit scan onto the Widowmaker. It shall be.
Yep, gonna see that dive formation coming out right now for Yuurei Mirai. So we have very quick style right now as the Senna and Pika going at it once again, as Senti's actually just gonna get out on the Malga in this situation, perhaps just giving them the bubble for the initial couple of shots, securing their safety. Looks like it's gonna do its job in the situation, but we're back to the Malga, 1v1 in the situation, no Divas with insight, and now you're already looking at a bit of a rotation as Senti gets forced out almost immediately, and Senna gets rid of Desi in the situation, so that fight's just done.
Yeah, all you can do, you've got no Juno, there's just isn't enough about sustainability to keep Santi active, so we won't see it. Just got to wait for that Juno to come back before the fight can begin in earnest, and Senna's gonna try and do the exact same thing again.
Yeah, again, Senna, very much seeing where they're at right now. Santi again staring down Death of Saunders sitting on 3 whole HP, gonna be able to get out temporarily, but already falling over is Big Man Ting. Yuurei Mirai want to close this out quickly. A nice flick shot to get the body shot, and now that could be sending Alba and Gehek out of there. Looks like it eventually will. Alba will take one down with them, but that fight quickly coming to an end and no hope of touching.
Yeah, I think Sonda's playing pretty fast and loose on the front line there, while Alba and IQ Mighty are really struggling with the kind of hotel lobby presence that's coming through, so they end up folding to it. After seeing exactly what they're playing into, Senna decides the Sombra is a little bit more valuable, and I think that's also part of the map geometry as well. I think it is a good adaptation, especially for streets, and as Santi goes down, then already we're seeing that Sombra swap find value.
Yeah, immediately so in the situation, and now with that in mind, they can now are able to play up on this archway with very much ease in the situation. It's gonna be hard for Santi to go through, because the moment they do, they're gonna get hit with that hack. So everybody has to go in together, has to find that value, be able to protect them, so they can find all the value that they are hoping for. And now, that's gonna engage here momentarily right now. We're gonna see Katsuni Rush gonna be used in this situation. Gonna give them a lot more value right now. Getting super close to getting this cage fight up online, but they're just backing out of the situation, trying to keep them alive, barely be able to do so. And it's just trying to re-engage right now, but they're getting bursted away, getting taken care of. Orbital Ray is there, the cage fight is there, but that is a monstrous loss for Big Man Ting as they throw those ults down the drain and they are falling apart at the seams.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if you force a heavy spend out of your opponents, and Rush Cage isn't so bad, but Orbital Ray, you need to be at least mirroring out your opponents. And they don't get that, they don't even get the duplicate from Zero, so Big Man Ting really struggling on this defense here. Maybe it's going to look a little bit different once these DPS ults are online, right? Once you get that EMP, that Death Blossom. That might be a conversation for another day. They might not even have enough time to charge it if they even go for this recontest.
It will get the recontest in this situation, but we have the Orbital Ray ready to go here. We're going to be having an online right now for Desi. He just then to go in here. Eventually, right now, Zero's going to try to find some value right now. Going to have that stun ready right now. His EMP's going to come out. The cleanse comes through onto Zero. Going to keep them up on Zero. Not going to find the value that they were hoping for, but Stena has already dropped. The hack has been taken care of, and now they're going to go in all the way. Hope to find somebody on this truss. Unfortunately, it's not going to get what they were hoping for. And now for Yuurei Mirai, about 5 minutes on the clock. A massive time bank going into third.
A gargantuan one, and they're coming up to this Kitsune Rush already. They've got a bulb, which is so much more powerful on kind of King's Row third point, in my opinion, than it is on any of the preceding two. You can throw it into such deep crevices that Big Man Ting essentially can't kite. Send it back onto the Widow, goes towards her comfort pick. It's going to need a small miracle from the hit scan here if Big Man Ting are going to find a hold, and it starts off already with a pick onto Desi. Exactly the momentum killer that they needed. But they're going to need a lot more than that. Gehek is going to need to finish his cage, and they're going to have to hit a Cage Blossom onto someone squishy.
100%. But could engage very quickly. They're trying to get back their fifth member at this point. Bob is going to be ready. Still have that Kitsune Rush right now, but Sander is hiding away. And they don't know quite yet, but you might not need that when Senna gets another headshot like that. Hoping to find a second, but the 80 strafe working out right now in their favor. But still got to take the reset of Sander. Someone gets taken out with a coach gun?
Yeah, it doesn't happen every day, and it's going to make it a little bit unfortunate here for Big Man Ting. They still have to close all this distance, but this time Big Man Ting can't really commit to the fight, so just, again, praying for a center shot while Sonda gets back into the battle.
Yeah, Bob's be ready here, looking. This will be thrown in a very opportune spot right now. Basically, gonna force the Zen back into the spawn room right now. Sander has got rid of one. Nice. Is gonna find the trade in the situation though as they lose the tank, but Sander for Big Man Team trying to keep this fight alive. Senna doing the exact same. Looks like they'll eventually be able to stabilize another good fight, but they have several more that they need to win.
Yeah, going for that Cage Blossom that we spoke about earlier, augmented, of course, with the Orbital Ray from IQ Mighty. It's enough to find the stop into the arrayed ultimates of Yuurei Mirai. But this next fight is going to get really awkward, right? Desi's got a Ray, Zero's close to the dupe, Big Man Ting. How many times can you say it? Senna has to be the hero, and this time Piku rips her face off.
Yeah, now Saunders gonna be that quick swap over to the Genji right now. It's a 5v4, and now you're gonna have that copy online if you're a Zero. If you manage to get this copy onto either the Genji or more specifically that Mauga, it could be very deadly as it is around the corner. They need to put some bodies on this card though, at least get a little bit of pressure on it right now. Zero will get the pick on a Sonder. Bodies starting to move on to the car right now. That copy still coming around the corner to be ready to go right now. This Orbital Ray has come through right now, and this could be lights out right here. As Yuurei Mirai gonna go all in. Duplication, the Orbital Ray. A Tristan is trying to stop all of it right now as Zero is trying to work up to this cage fight. Already sitting at 50% as Senna gets taken down by Nyx of all people, and now the copy cage fight is ready. You have to do or die in this situation, and unfortunately Big Man Ting will die, and they lose any chance of winning this map.
So 33.3% in 2.25 minutes is all that separates Yuurei Mirai from tying this series up. Big Man Ting, if they complete that hold, and mind you, we didn't see that in the previous, right? We see them kind of lose first fight, defending first point. Is going to be needed to tie this up. Gotta say, almost not what we expected. I kind of would have expected moving over to King's Row with this Ashe, with this Pharah, that it would maybe find even less success than we saw on Lijiang Tower, but instead that script is flipped, and Big Man Ting are very much humbled. See exactly how they want to play this defense. Big Man Ting look like they are changing up everything. Going over to a Queen composition with the Echo, with the Genji. Now this is very curious. It's very powerful though. I mean, because you're winning so many fights off of the Rampage, off of the duplicate. Yuurei Mirai only need the one. So what they're really looking for here is one fight where they have ult advantage as we kind of look at these 2-3 minute time banks, and that's what the conversation more shifts to. But it will be close, it will be on the line, and I expect it to be one very slow first fight and one very, very slow second fight.
Yeah, there's a great possibility that is going to be the case. The only thing that realistically changes that is obviously if Pico manages to find a headshot early on. If that we see the headshot early on, I mean, Yuurei Mirai, they're just going to go, and they're going to go fast. But gotta find it first and foremost right now. Need to hope Senna does not peek the wrong way. So you see them kind of hanging around that area right now. Peek already going to make the swap over to the Ash instead. Not able to find anything in the situation as big man Ting cannot afford to even get off this point a whole lot. A single tick will result in this game being tied right now. He's gonna go for that instead. Oh, just the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately. That beam is settling things right now, and now it is falling apart. Big man Ting need to come together. Everyone's still near that full health, but they have to go and touch this point right now, and they are not gonna be able to get there. That's gonna be a take for Yuurei Mirai, and big man Ting not even able to put up a second win.
That's a sickeningly good beam there from Zero, just flattening Senna. Great job from the Echo of Yuurei Mirai to recognize that kill opportunity, because I think a lot of FDPS maybe wouldn't have seen it. But as it stands, obviously tied up 1-1. King's Row does go to extra innings, but Yuurei Mirai are able to eke it out in the end, and it is off the back of not playing the meta, playing to their own strengths rather than to what the composition as standard would be that gets them there. It's, again, we build this game as competitive, and I'm going to keep saying it, and it has been delivering. It only makes me so much more excited to see where we go next.
I mean, obviously, we have to the situation. Obviously, Big Man Team will get a bit of a break here to decide where they want to go, because now they get to dictate where kind of map and mode they want to go to, how they want to take it. And realistically, you want to take it somewhere where you could kind of maybe try to shut that far end down in that situation. But it's something we're have to see as well. We are going to cut it to a little break, give Big Man Team some time to decide where we're going to go next. But wait, because on the other side of this break, we will have ourselves our third map of the series.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
We predicted it may be a close one here today, and so far, so good as it happens to be the case right now. We are currently tied 1-1 here in the match to decide who is going to move on to the winners finals and who will have to go fight for their life in the lower bracket and stretch round. We talked about it a lot during the break. We talked about it a lot before we even got in the game and how back and forth we thought this game could be, and 100% Yuurei Mirai and Big Man Ting are 100% living up to that standard.
Yeah, that they are. It's been blow for blow, of course, in our first two maps of the series and heading into our second of the night. So see exactly what they've got cooked up for us as Big Man Ting have come through with their own map pick. It's something that I'm going to be honest, I was really not expecting Dorado going to be here next. Dorado, not a map for the Malga whatsoever. It's a map for hit scan, it's a map for dive. I think you could probably play Malga on first point if you really didn't like yourself. Second point, I think that's no bueno. Third as well. So I will see exactly what they've cooked up, because as well, we've got some substitutes for the side of Big Man Ting. 2 players coming out, 2 players coming in. It's the tank and flex support who we're going to be losing. So Gehek and IQ Mighty are going to be coming out, going to be leaving us. And coming in, we've got Anthemoides and Rosa in those same roles. So Anthemoides going to be playing that flex support. Rosa, I assume, going to be playing tank. So we'll see what that changes up for Big Man Ting. As I understand, these are the starting players now, but I wouldn't put money on that. But I also, with the change to this very different map, right, or Dorado, it could just be for playing more dive-based strategies.
I mean, yeah, it's what it's going to turn into, and this is where you will kind of see a bit of that variety of the DPS in that situation, because there's a lot that can come out. The Ashe is obviously still a very likely candidate. Widow is very possible. I mean, even things like that Genji, like the Echo, even in some realms, a Tracer will very much have an ability to come out in here, but it's going to be something that's going to adapt throughout the series. Rarely, and never throughout we've seen today, have the DPS done the exact same throughout the entirety of the map. So likely going to see swap-ups here and there, but it's all about adjustments. It's all about making it work, especially when you have to go out on that defense. And sometimes what you have just doesn't work on the initial defense. You got to swap it up for second point, try to make something work, because that first point, if it goes the wrong way, that first point can go by extremely quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. It's incredibly brutal to attack. Some of those defender angles are just unplayable, right? Obviously, it did get changed semi-recently. It makes it better. I would hesitate to call it good.
Not
right?
as worse, we'll call it.
Not as worse. Yeah, it's kind of the best we can say about it. So, still an absolute... I struggle to find the words to describe how bad it is to attack, I'll put it that way. But it is attackable. It is something that you can do. But we're going to have to wait and see about how it actually happens once we get into the action. Pick's going to be the name of the game here. Senna was finding more of them, but Pico and that Widowmaker was absolutely getting his licks in. So big respect to him for being able to hit those shots as well into a player as vaunted. I think it's kind of fair to say that on paper, he would be the weaker hit scan, but he's definitely getting his blows in. And, you know, watching this game, I think I would struggle to actually continue to tell that narrative.
I do love how they're just raw fish shitting around. Like, you walk anywhere in Dorado, just raw fish shitting around. Has nothing to do with what you just said, but it's something that I have just taken notice of. Instead of pigeons, alligators, it's just raw dead fish sitting around. But something that's not dead right now is we have our DPS line set up. It is going to be the Widowmakers going against each other so far right now. Sunder currently sitting over on the Tracer, and sitting there on the defense. That is not going to be changing anytime super soon here. But everything else, I mean, pretty much about what you would expect. The Divas are out there. We have a Brigana being brought out here in this situation, which Brigana, don't see it a whole lot often, but when it does come out, it is maps here like Dorado.
It's really strong for the Diva. In fact, we're seeing a Diva mirror here with the Juno that we see from Yuurei Mirai. Implies that they want to play a little bit harder for these brawls rather than hard dives. But I think with the Diva specifically, the Nano and the Rhea comparable Piku getting a great kill, but the trade is comparable as Sunder finds the one clip.
Yeah, already back to the 4v4, but remember the spawn's going to be much closer for the attackers right now, so Piku will be able to get back quicker. Sunder going to try to get out here, going to get the mini, and just stay alive for the time being, but that means the rest of Big Man Ting got to back out a little bit, start playing for the courtyard area instead, especially trying to, again, Senna is going to get back to this fight as we back to the other Widow 1v1. But right now, you need to hope you don't fall to Sunder, with dangerously close to going down.
Yeah, again, 15 HP. Surely he can get some healing, and yeah, will be sustained at least for now. But this battle is ongoing, and Widowmaker has to retake all this space, otherwise Piku is going to keep finding kills like that.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal job done right now. They're trying to find each other right now. Piku almost wants to remain out of the side. Goes for the pick. Unfortunately, not going to find anything right now as Rosa goes in a little too deep. Going to get taken out. So now you've lost the tank. You've lost a big chunk of the advantage you might have had. A zero has already gotten two right now as they're pushing this card along. And now it's all about if Sunder wants to go for the touch or not.
I would imagine that the cap is going to go through. They could touch, but they can't really fight, is kind of the timing that we're looking at. No ults for either side means that you could still find a mechanical kill, but okay, they're going for it.
Yeah, they're going to go for it, trying to find something right there. Does manage to get the shot over on Rosa. They'll get them taken out, but Piku pretty much gets one clip in that situation, and now quite very much alive here for Big Man Ting. Sunder does have this pulse bomb ready to go. Is not going to expend it, not going to be needed right now as they sleep on the Diva. Santi they just managed to stop the remake there, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be enough as the bomb is going to be thrown online right now. Going to see if Alba can go down, if the remake is going to come through. The rallies as well. Yuurei Mirai wants to give everything to win this fight, give time for everybody to make it back and have the impact, and it looks like it might be able to pay off right now as unfortunately, Alba loses the ult, and this fight is falling apart as the cap comes through.
But nice recontest attempt, especially if you don't use that rally, but as, you know, it does go through, Yuurei Mirai able to find that stabilization, keep a very healthy time bank through into second point. Piku definitely, I think, finding the better of this Widowmaker duel so far, as Senna has been struggling to get her fingers really into this map. Nano boost is nice, but we won't see it pop just yet. The infra sites will be mirrored out, meaning no advantage for either side. I think you have to find a nano engage. You need to blow up Desi when you go in with these ultimates.
Yeah, right now looking for the headshot, trying to find some advantage. They go for the first shot, second shot. Not going to find what you were hoping for. Just a body shot. That's not going to take anybody down as we'll see the chase by Santi to be able to get them out of there. Going to go in, not going to be able to find the headshot either right now. Is trying to steal the mini health back. Right now, Sunder just gets eliminated. Oh my god. So now, Yuurei Mirai taking this fight for their own, and Big Man Ting have to hit the regroup button.
Yeah, the outlandish player just gets his ass handed to him. There's no two ways of describing it. Piku lights out right now on Dorado and knocks Sunder on his ass again.
Yeah, but Senna has answered back right now, but now it's all about making the touch happen, and it's got to be on the back of Rosa here right now. So Nano is online right now, it's been used right now, but a sleep on to zero. The copy comes through just in time, gonna get the double anti on the support duel, and now you've got to find at least one picker. Unfortunately, you won't. You're between a rock and a hard place right now as the point is moving through. 1.5 meters to go, and unfortunately, Spec, it looks like it's all going to fall apart from here right now, trying to see if he can get everybody back, but it's just the stall remaining from Sunder right now, is doing the best that they possibly can do, but they cannot do it alone.
Yeah, I think Sonder's really struggling to find value right now on this Tracer.
no.
I would maybe even say a swap to a Genji might be optimal here. You get poked out a little bit less. You're going to get exploded a little bit less. And it also, your damage against the D.Va specifically, so much nicer, so much more comfortable. But Alexa's stick, at least for now. Obviously, Big Man Ting are really struggling. A 4-minute time bank, not what you'd love to see here on Dorado. Just going to, again, need these DPS to find kills. Again, it's been Piku with his name absolutely on fire so far. Senna's got to mark him. And instead it goes over to the Echo.
Which is very interesting in the situation, and obviously Pika's just gonna have the advantage overall now. But I mean, maybe Senna thinks this can have more of an advantage, and maybe it can once it settles down. I think that might be the case, but for this first fight, you gotta make it work. You gotta stay safe. You cannot allow yourself to be found out right now. But Senna's being forced up into the air, and it's in the worst place, not the place you want to be right now. Is Santi gonna use the bomb and be able to hit the remech, and Rosa gets knocked out of the mech as a result. And now Spec, I mean, it is all falling apart for Big Man Ting.
It's just collapsing. It's it doesn't look pretty. I'll put it that way. The backline can't even force a touch. Maybe Sonder can as he blinks. But no bueno. 3 minutes, 5 seconds. As we got deeper into this series, the more that Yuurei Mirai have warmed up. I mean, we've said it before. We'll say it again. Piku in particular, right? Just absolutely taking heads and names. And now a nigh on insurmountable time bank for Big Man Ting to attempt to assail. Incredibly hard for them to try and do. Obviously, the silver lining, I suppose, is that on a map like Escort, there's no real worries about extra innings. It's just about how much time you will have to attack. So it's not the end of the world for them just yet, as maybe it would have been on a map like King's Row, as we've just seen, in fact. But flip side of things, 3-minute time bank, you don't see that, right? We don't see that very often at all on Dorado, so it's going to have to be a truly fantastic attack from Big Man Ting. Songa has moved over to the Genji. Like I said, I do think it's a little bit better. They are swapping their roles around on the backline, so Alba now on the Juno and Thermoides on that Brigitte. So again, they can play a bit more for these brawls. They can play a bit more for their Ray fights. And I think on paper, it might even be a little bit more sustainable, especially into, 1 or 2 people attacking when you're not specifically whip-shotting these monkey dice, when you don't need the raw sustain of the Ana Brig to stay active. I will say that these constant changes from Big Man Ting don't really inspire confidence, though, as well. They played, 5, 6 compositions? They've only just changed? Like, they don't seem confident at all, and I hate to see that from them.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, but again, this is a game of momentum, especially when you're running something this quick, like a Winston in Tracer composition. It can go very quick, and if they keep the quick pace, they might be able to make something happen right now, but Senna still has to do their job taking care of Piku right now, who so far has made this map their own.
Oh, that is Nikki.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, Senna hoping to find something. Nothing quite yet on the boards. That card is slowly moving along, but Spec, I mean, this is going to be a slow developing fight, but once it starts, it is going to start, and it is just going to keep running.
Oh, of course. I mean, Senna's got a great sightline here. This is a good start for Big Man Ting, as long as Sonder can stay active. Hookshot won't connect, and Sonder, a great kill onto Santi.
Yeah, to make things a little bit easier right now. Dive's going to come through right now. Rough place for Zero, but for the time being, staying alive. Unfortunately, not going to be able to say that for very long here. Sonder able to have clear with it too right now. Eventually going to clean up Destiny, get that cart moving along. Similar to how Yuurei Mirai's first push was. Great success early on, but they got to finish out with homework fight.
Yeah, Senna has access to the sightline first. It makes it so tricky for Santi, Piku, the rest of them to peek into the main area, which makes it so easy for Sonder to access the backline to find these kills. A recontest can happen, but it's going to be really damn tricky.
Yeah, 100% is in the situation. 2 meters on the board right now. Senna looking for Piku in the situation right now, who has a whole different angle. They're not going to see each other anytime soon, but they go up trying to find something. Senna's the one who finds a headshot this time around, giving their team the advantage, but now they've got to lock in, get rid of this D.Va right now. Is trying to hold it on. The dive's going to come through. Not going to really take anything away from that situation right now, trying to see if they can knock Santi out. They're sitting super low. Bomb is almost on the way. Going to see if they can maybe get it on time, but unfortunately, it might all be coming to an end here right now as they're so separated. They're being taken away. Santi is going to be at 99 to that bomb, but no activation. Not that it would have helped anyway. And that's going to be over with. So about 4:30 going to be on the clock for Big Man Ting.
Yeah, about comparable to what their opponents had, right? Obviously, it felt like they won that about as fast as they could, but Dorado is just so painstakingly slow to attack, even when you are winning. Of course, good news for Big Man Ting. They only had to spend that rally, so they can use this infrasight to take the space. to figure out exactly where they want to play and where they want to set up their nano engage.
Oh, that's not the best thing that's ever happened to a diva before, getting knocked around, but gonna stay alive as PQ is gonna go ahead and use her sights directly afterwards in the situation. So for Senna, I mean, Senna can't really do a thing. You can't risk peeking that situation.
Nobody can, really.
Yeah, but over the right, gonna be used here by Desi in this situation as Rosa has the nano trying to run down somebody. Nick's unfortunately gonna be the one to go down with the situation if the trade does come online, and now Rosa needs to make the choice whether or not to invest the ultimate. And with this jump, you've got to think maybe they're thinking about it, but for now, the fight just has kind of just slowed down. Yuurei Mirai has no member sitting around.
Yeah, it's a 3v3 or so. Closer spawns for Yuurei Mirai, make it awkward. Send Zona, you have to live here, man, but Santi won't be able to find the kill.
Yeah, still that bomb ready to go, so does have a second lease on life should they need it right now. With how aggressive they're being, you would think they're willing to use it very easily right now, but it's going to force Rosa to use the Primal Rage to force them around right now, and now we're going to dive that backline, trying to give chase right now to Desi right now, but not finding any fruition as things are speaking right now. As the cart slowly moving along, Senti finally going to give it some pressure and stop her right now. As finally is going to be able to get out Senna, instead it gets deleted on the spot as PQ is going to clean up shop, and Yuurei Mirai replicating the success so far of Big Man Ting, and right now just looking for a bit of cleanup.
Santi looks so comfortable in this diva, right? Some of these assassinations that we're seeing found are absolutely fantastic, and the stagger onto the backline too is brutal. Exactly what you want to see if you're a Yuurei Mirai fan. Exactly what they need to put down this attack of Big Man Ting, and as well that they're very comfortable to have some nice check marks here as well. Santi with that bomb means he can go a little bit more aggressively when mirroring out these rallies. A Sonda pick here with the pulse bomb would be lovely, of course. So too would send a headshot, but neither will come through. At least as of yet, as Zero looks to scale into the backline.
Yeah, right now you would be looking for Nyx right now, trying to see if you can find them, maybe force out that rally, but the rallies are already out on both sides. Help a bit of a rough situation right now as Pico perhaps not in the 1v1 you would really hope for with a Tracer right now, but taking an angle as Senna has been taken out once again by Santi right now as the fight's falling apart for them. And at this point again, the support's trying to help each other out, staying alive right now, but the problem is they essentially just have to try to get out alive or die and reset because there's not really much of an in-between there, but Rosa has gotten back. The fight is online, support's helping each other up right now. Rosa gets deleted instantly though, so once again, fight can be reset and support's gonna have to take the long way out as at least you force the bomb out. That is a very small silver lining.
Yeah, you'll take that, honestly. The stagger onto the supports doesn't matter too much, as I don't think any further kills will be able to come through. It will be a relatively decent refight for Big Man Ting as long as Sonda doesn't die.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the fight is still kind of messy right now, still trying to find something right now. Pulse Bomb, though, is ready by Zero right now. You want more than anything to catch this onto somebody, especially if you can manage to burn down Rosa because of it right now. But the Primal Rage is ready, so no reason to think they would ever go down as Rosa's going to go in with this nano. Going to try to run it down, but her orbital ray is right in the face. Alba does go down Zero, managing to find their target, but Senna is going to go down as well. And Yuurei Mirai, again, a quick cleanup here. The investment does not pay off.
No, it does not. Unfortunately, I think it looks like Rosa is really struggling to access the backline, right? We're seeing these nanos come through, and all they really take is frontline. Really quite unfortunate from the tank of Big Man Ting, and as well, they're really struggling to find resets when they need. A couple of these fights, these backline staggers have cut this time back in half, so now 45 seconds to go. Getting closer to one fight territory, and though Yuurei Mirai are skint, Big Man Ting don't have any momentum on their side.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is essentially the last fight online. I mean, if it doesn't end like right now, so they're just setting up and trying to play the long game for this fight, and that's not the wrong call, honestly. Senna has Salt around the corner right now, needs to be able to live though, 90% and counting. But PQ is still on the scene with this Ashe right now, eventually trying to see if they can set up a dive. They're trying to hold down the fort right now if you're Rosa, trying to force everybody into this corner, force everybody inside right now, and that's the right call. And eventually the Primal Rage will come out as PQ does get hit with that. It's gonna get super low in the nade. It's gonna be massive, as you say. And now it's just Santi gonna have a bomb ready to go here. Goes above the point for it, but is not gonna pull the trigger on it. Realizes this fight is dead, and that it shall be. As Big Bad Ting gonna keep their hopes of winning this map alive.
Yeah, obviously the hopes of having a comparable time, those are pretty dashed, right? But you can finish, you can, look at extra innings and figure you have a decent shot there. It's just that Yuurei Mirai will have a lead in that. Senna will be able to back. The duplicate is a huge tool here, very likely going to go into Santi Zero as a second. And you just want to go fast here. You want to go aggressive.
Yeah, get Rosa still grab his Primal Rage, gets stunned down a little bit. He's holding on to it, but Senna gonna go for the copy and immediately gets hit with a D-Max. But also gonna get an actual target here as PQ is taking care of Sonder. Oh, with things move along right now as that card is slowly moving along, but Sandra has been taken on time. Rosa has expended their own Primal Rage and unfortunately is not going to find any dice to boot, but the Nano is going to be engaged and unfortunately it's only going to succeed in getting them some space.
Yeah, we're consistently diving past our background line of sight, which is why we're kind of struggling to find kills so often. Rose is in solo, has to back, and then we don't kill anything while we're at it. Lovely nade there, but so desync from the pressure cycle finds absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Bob has been used as well, so now if you've been used to back out, you gotta reset for one more fight. You cannot afford to go in right now.
No, just sort of waiting, stalling for time inside of this room. It's a miracle if nobody goes down, especially as Desi will probably use the raid to force them out for a final time. 15 seconds on the time bank, this could be it.
Yeah, the dive from Rosa. Rosa's gonna get turned into Swiss cheese, getting taken care of. And now, just a cleanup fight here for Yuurei Mirai. Body starting to go towards the point. Lucky to even have an overtime touch right now, because that might be all they get in this situation right now. Going one after another. Gonna get those touches coming through. Rosa gonna try to see if they can get back over on the Doombus, but unfortunately, it's not gonna be in time right now. Perhaps maybe one final touch, but it will not happen. Match point gonna go over to Yuurei Mirai, having a fantastic showing here on Dorado.
That they will. Second round comes a little bit closer, of course, but I think we're all pretty certain after watching that map exactly who was in control. A 3-minute time bank on Dorado is absolutely filthy. And the fact that we saw it get that far is just tantamount, or testament, there we go, to exactly how strong Yuurei Mirai can be. I think we did see definitely some slip-ups there from the side of Big Man Ting. I thought their dive was not fantastic. I think in terms of the Widow Tracer, we saw a lot of essentially plays that boiled down to Rosa go kill. You know, the go wasn't hitting a nade, it wasn't having a Tracer scaled, it was kind of just, we feel like going. And unfortunately, we saw very little value, in my opinion, out of that Winston. What push we did see, what value we did find was, you know, largely due to center headshots, to a lesser extent, I think, Sonda finding opening picks, whether it be by the Pulse Pistols or the Pulse Bomb. I do generally think, though, it looked like Yuurei Mirai seemed a lot more comfortable on these kind of more mobile compositions. Like I said, Sansi had an absolutely lights-out map there, and because of that, they're up 2-1 in this series. Just a single map from knocking Big Man Ting down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, 100%. And with that, the options start to become limited right now, especially with the fact that all you have left is you have Push, and then you have the combination of Clash and Flashpoint, which, in that sense, again, that leaves you with very little options. You don't have that flexibility you would have if you still had Escort or Hybrid in the lineup, where every map can kind of have its own variants. There are some maps that are more pokey, some that are more dive, more brawl. In this situation, a lot of this is just going to go back around to that Malga style. I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 realistic maps where you could try something different, but I mean, the question is here what you want to try to get out of the way of the situation if you are Big Man Ting, because you also have to think at the same time of like, okay, what would Yuurei Mirai want to go out when we get to map 5? What in that situation would give them a big advantage? Maybe you want to take a Flashpoint because maybe they want to go over to a Clash where they feel the most comfortable. You have to think about that to some degree.
I would probably go... Ooh, it's a hard one.
Yeah.
One of the push maps, I would go. I think if you have a favorite push map, that's a lot more acceptable, because I think a lot of these push maps are much more varied than the kind of other 2 points. I think with Flashpoint and with Clash, you're going to play Malga, right? You're going to play Malga. Yeah. Whether and how specifically you play that Malga is maybe a different question. But that's how it ends up playing. Whereas with the push maps, there's a little bit more variation, elevation, sight lines, flanks, if there are any. So there's a bit more of a question mark, right? And obviously, you know, playing into this style, the Ashe, Pharah, you're looking for these engages as closely as possible. Then going into maybe like a Runa Sappy could be really brutal if you can't find those really, really fast go buttons. So we'll wait and see exactly what the pick is. But a very big question, I think, for Big Man Ting, who, you know, don't win the map that they picked to be as comfortable and as possible. They don't win their own map pick. Remember, so far they've only won Lijiang Tower when they were playing the Malga Sombra. So you maybe want to go back towards something like that. Subs are made again. IQ Mighty is back in for Anthemoides. Gehek back in for Rosa. So they will be playing the Malga, one would assume. And the pick has come through for Survasa.
Yeah, and Survasa, I don't think too shocking of a pick in the situation. You take Clash out of the equation, which, you know, some teams don't practice Clash a whole lot, so it's kind of nice to have that not be something you have to worry about as against Surabasa, I think is a fair choice. I think, again, it's going to come down to the Malga 1v1s. It's going to come down to the fact that Senna and Sonder try to do what they can. Likely going to be back over on at least the Genji, but it's something that has to be seen. But at the very least, you kind of take the Ana out of the equation as well. We're probably going to go back fully to the original style. And at the same time, you're going to go back to some of the momentum that Gehek was kind of able to get for their team when they were playing that Malga, because they did a good job keeping up with the enemy team almost the entire of that time. And obviously, they bring these swaps in with Rosa. It doesn't quite work out. So maybe it's them trying to recapture the momentum they felt like they had in the previous maps with that composition.
Yeah. So now they've chosen where they want to start their comeback, as it were. I think Surabasa is pretty reasonable for it. You're kind of stuck between Surabasa and New Junk City, in my opinion, at least. I think first point for New Junk City would be really bad for the kind of Ash Far that we would expect to see from Yuurei Mirai. Outside of that, it's very, very good for it, generally. I mean, a map like Scrapyard, like Bomb Flats as well, so maybe a lesser extent. I feel like you get great work with that DPS line. Surabasa, I think first point is going to be probably best for these kind of Ash Farah. The sight lines are long, you've got some higher grounds to start off of. But after that, I think it's going to end up being a little bit better. I think this is probably the best choice that Big Man Ting could have went towards. But it still doesn't feel perfect. Senna's going to be on that Sombra once again. Sonder, after a second, I assume, will be on that Reaper. Yuurei Mirai doing exactly the same as we expected from them in the previous bar. Phoenix, who's going to be starting this time on that Kiriko. So they don't have that brawl power like we spoke about before, but in exchange, your DPS get more pocket. You get that cleanse to keep Sanity in the fight for a little bit longer. And that Kitsune Rush as well can be used as kind of like a budget Orbital Ray.
Yeah, 100%. So what we have to see right now is the bar is still online for 0 in this situation. Gonna see if it still find its value.
Oh, wow.
Destiny is, I mean, Senna's dead. The fight's kind of dead too, unfortunately. You don't get that value from it anymore, and now you just have to back out, and you essentially are gonna have to surrender the point here shortly.
Necessary trade that. You can keep fighting now if you get this kill.
Ooh. That's a possibility, but I think the touch is going to be given up at the very least. So now they're fighting for the point. 4v4 online as members fighting to get back from both sides right now. And now you're waiting for the opportunity. The Sonder kind of going on the side right now, forcing everybody around. Piku in a rough situation. Going to try to escape. Just have a bit of healing right now coming through right now, but is back to that 1v1 right now. Stanty going to get forced out of there. Realizes this is not it as a go point. Only 28% on the board.
Yeah, they'll back off at least for now. But 30% won't matter too much here. The important thing now is going to be Senna marking these flanks. Sonder gets marked in his own, goes down instantly.
Yeah, we saw Sonder was in there pretty deep right now as they're going to go through power drive onto Gehek. Going to be a struggle to survive right now. The Bridge is doing everything they can to eat that damage. Unfortunately, going to be essentially matching with 29 on the board here. And now everybody needs to try to get out and escape.
Yeah, they'll get staggered pretty far. Alba doing his best to live here, but that might come back to bite him in the behind the bleed. Oh, stuck in the corner. Yeah, just get staggered, you see. I mean, if he goes down earlier, then we're looking at a faster refight here, but already one fight territory for Market. Big Man Ting have double support, so Yuurei Mirai have every single check mark possible. Senna, with an EMP, could make this fight winnable. Without it, though, it's going to be Yuurei Mirai taking first blood.
Yeah, 100% gonna have to see what's been going on here right now.
No.
Oh my god, the EMP was ready to go, and now again, this fight is cooked. Sonder is gonna get out of here. This fight's done, and now Big Man Ting, I mean, you just have to reset. You have 0 option elsewise.
Senna's really struggling so far on this Sombra. She's been caught twice trying to set up, and unfortunately, a hero like Sombra, that's simply unacceptable. We're going to have to see her lock in. That's the only way of describing it, because right now, one of the big issues Big Man Ting is facing, all the ultimates we spoke about previously, though, you know, minus that Kitsune Rush, is still active. The same factors are still true. Big Man Ting kind of want to bank their fight plans around this Senna EMP.
At 100% right now, you see Zero is ready to go with a barrage. Waiting to see if they want to go into a close corridor, and that's exactly what Zero is ready for right now. He's probably going to wait around the corner, and as soon as they push in, he's going to hit that barrage directly from behind. But instead, we're seeing the cage fight coming through. EMP, Sonder's managing to find one, going to get forced in a little bit, and it looks like this fight will be going to end very quickly. Big investment overall in the situation, but Big Man Ting using 3 ultimates to take away in this fight. Will it be worth it at the end of the day, is the question.
Yeah, you probably should have saved one of those ultimates. You can get by spending 2, you know, considering how far they are from Kitsune Rush. 3, in my opinion, is an overinvestment. So they're going to have to figure out how to win this next fight down check marks, especially into Barrage, into Orbital Ray. Just a cage, it sucks.
Yeah, 100% right now. Sonder already in a bad position right now. We're going to have the barrage ready to go, waiting for an opportunity right now. As we're seeing right now, a buff from PQ being used, perhaps to just secure this and wrap this one up. Looks like it will do so. Only 40% as Big Man Ting already just getting forced off the point.
I mean, Solar Barrage isn't so powerful, but we see Big Man Ting struggling so much against the Orbital Ray, and these staggers as well. Again, they're going to be brutal. We need to find a trade from Big Man Ting to make it worth, and at least Senna will be able to escape. Kitsune Rush from Phoenix close on the horizon as well. It is possible to charge up to both your own Ray and EMP. That's doable, especially in the percentage points you have. Again, we can't see Senna go down first, though. She's been better, but got to stay consistent with it.
Yeah, right now gets hit with one direct right there. Nearly gets taken with the second. Sonder able to take it, and now Senna just has to find a way right now. Zero, I mean, they know where Zero's at. They know what's cooking in the kitchen right now as they're waiting for the right direction to take, but they're so hesitant. And now there's no chance for a second fight. They go in all the way right now. Zero gonna get forced around, hacked. Not gonna get the chance to hit that barrage, and now Orbital Ray gonna be used to kind of secure their spot right now. 1v1 over here, Senna. Eventually gonna see help going the enemy way as Big Bad Ting will be able to take the point, and now this fight all hangs in the balance with an EMP.
And you managed to do it without spending that EMP. That's the huge thing here. No, this next fight, again, you need to go first with it. Perfect timing now!
When they go through, and they're going to catch almost everybody, and now the chances of winning this are slim, and Slim is slowly beginning to leave town right now. You're going to lose them late, and PQ's going to use the Bob, and that Bob means it's going down the drain. A retouch isn't going to happen either. That's just gone.
Yeah, that's a huge mistake coming through from Piku Kerfu. This ult
smart.
charge donated to your opponents, and an ultimate down during when Big Man Ting are so poor, so skint in terms of those check marks. A delivery like that, an absolute charity donation, makes it so much easier for them to keep playing, keep making this competitive. Zero's been holding on to this barrage for a while, surely looking to get engaged with it now.
Yeah, and IQ Mighty's gotten taken down. Unfortunately, Big Man Ting, they take the more aggressive route. They take the early fight. And sometimes that's worth the risk. I think most of the time, it's not really. You could have the advantage of getting to point first, but unfortunately, you've lost two people, and now you are fighting to even get to this point. That is worst case scenario before they've even touched the point.
That is really brutal, yeah. And especially this point, where the walk-up is so tricky, right? Walking into Farah Ash, it's not comfortable at all. You'd love that first point positioning, so instead you're going to have to probably clear this high ground first before you actually try and scale your Malga, because otherwise, I mean, look at all the spam they're taking.
Yep, Zero gonna get forced a little bit right here, but eventually they have to force their way on, but you can't do that when you don't have a Gino on your side, and Zero is gonna go in. Rub scenarios, they're gonna go in, try to force something right now. The barrage has found one, it's found two, it's eventually gonna find everything it needs right now. Sonder, last person on the point. Gotta get cleaned up quickly. You get out the barrage, but Big Man Ting, they need a complete fight here so badly.
In terms of your ult trade, it's not so bad. Your ults are pretty good for that next fight. Again, though, the issue is the walk-up, because I think once they get in, they'll be relatively comfortable going blow for blow with Yuurei Mirai. But see how they attempt to do it this way. Go for a wrap round cliffside. As long as they care, boop, this should be safer.
Yeah, 100%. That's the situation. Now, very much final fight territory here. This is a very important fight win here that is needed from Big Man Ting. You see Sonder in there right now. It's going to pull the trigger, but it is not going to find its value. Nyx doesn't end up going down. The point is going to flip, but Big Man Ting, he just tried to force them out, but it looks like Yuurei Mirai has just decided to leave and try to keep everybody alive.
Yeah, you'd love a kill there for Big Man Ting, and the fact they don't get one is absolutely brutal. They've used everything here, so the EMP is kind of forced to be spent here, no matter what happens next.
Yeah, absolutely have to right now. Now, YRE Mirai, they know they don't have to waste time here. They want to get all five. They want to go in now, because if you're going to lose this fight, at least you're going to use it or lose it early, and they're going to go for it. It's going to come out. EMP's going to catch on barely. Just the members right now. Zero's taking down just Santi and PQ right now, as the Bob is slowly going to flip over the point. And ladies and gentlemen, that might not seem like it has a lot of value when they're going to lose the point anyway, but that means now that they have plenty of time to set up for another fight.
Yeah, they have one extra fight. If they didn't get that flip, they'd be at about 70. They'd have to sprint for it. But instead, points not going to be an issue for them. Big Man Ting will only have the rally. They need to try and charge it up as quickly as possible. I would try and take an aggressive bash fight. But they have to carry the threat of that Zero barrage as well, which has been so brutal so many times.
Yeah, and it is ready to go momentarily here. Everyone's trying to hide away. They realize what could be heading their way right now, as it is going to find its way online. Senna hanging out over on the left side, hoping to find a hack right now, but it's going to get forced out a little bit here as eventually touches are gonna have to come through right now. Gonna force it with 98.99, and that isn't officially a C9 right there, ladies and gentlemen. No touch comes through. Big Man Ting takes the lead over here, even though they lose the fight. The touch, how do you let that happen?
I spoke about Piku making a donation before, but this is lobbying at that point. That's ridiculous value there. You use only the rally, you get 2 checkmarks out of your opponents, and even though you lose this mid-rotate fight, you're just so happy with how things are going.
Yeah, Cage Fight comes out, basically gonna eliminate Santi in there. Nyx is in there, Desi gonna go down as well. It's just Zero and Piku, and they're not gonna win a 4v2 in that situation. It just ain't gonna happen right now as the reset's gonna come through, and Big Man Ting, due to that C9 of their opponent, Big Man Ting take all that momentum back.
Yeah, I mean, that banana peel that they slipped on, that might have cost them the map. That might even cost them the series, but we'll have to wait and see. Yuurei Mirai, again, they've got a Ray. They're comfortable with it. We're going to see it probably Rays traded back and forth, so it's the Blossom versus the Cage. Whichever finds more value, likely going to be the difference maker here.
Yep, Orbital Rays be ready to go, sending on the way. IQ Muddy has theirs ready to go, and they're going to send it back as well. Back and forth. Raj is going to come through, but again, an amazing boop. But still, Desi manages to go down due to IQ Mighty, and now forced out, potentially 1 fight away, as they're getting every stagger in the world here. And now they are only 1 fight away from taking this to a 5th map.
That they are, and they've got the EMP for it. Senna will have no problem scanning this time, right into the now Echo with the Sombra. Then it should be perfectly staged. The engage should be set up, and of course they have to go early here with the Cage, with the Bob. Yuurei Mirai would love to play over point with it, so this choke fight, exactly what we expect.
Yeah, they're going to go in very aggressively. EMP is only going to catch on to 3, but it might be the 3 you needed. Santi is getting low right now, but Piku has found the value. I think that was perhaps slightly too aggressive. On the side of Big Man Ting, as the Bob has helped and got rid of 3 now. As cleanup is going to come through a little too eager to close out the map. Gehek will get 1, but Alpha uses the ulti in the situation. They think they can win this. Gehek is hanging around right now. Is going to try to see if they get through. Unfortunately, that investment's not going to be enough. They're going to clean things up, and the rally is going to go down the drain.
Yeah, that it will. You know, your opponent is skinned, so it's not so bad. You got Duke versus Cage in that next, and they're pressuring already early, knowing the numbers of Yuurei Mirai are so low.
Yeah, they might go for it here, but they're going to hold back very smartly. Santi did not engage in that situation. Hold back, bringing up your ultimates, because you have a copy around the corner, but the heck does have the almighty wall that is that Cage Fight coming around the corner. It can be very important if you catch the right heel inside of it, and it's going to be down to 0 to hit that copy, to use their own, and make it work. But let's see if this engagement ready to go, Spectreon, because once it goes, it's going to be all in, and they are flying in right now. Going to try to get them down. Santi is going to get hacked out, but 0 is here, ready to go right now. Going to try to burn away right now, sitting super low. He's getting all the healing in the world, but it's not going to happen, and Alba has gotten rid of 2. Senna helping out as best they can, hacking away, and now it is just the staggering, and Spectreon, say it with me, we are going to map 5.
And it's off the back of that Charlie Niner. There's no other way of, you know, spinning this story, right? Big Man Ting. You know, if they lose that previous flashpoint, then I find it kind of hard to say that they would be winning out Suravasa, that they would be going to a map number 5. Yuurei Mirai, next up, have to pick push, I believe. I think that is their only option remaining. It's not comfortable, though. They won't have any map that's going to be an instant win for them. But like I said, they have a little bit more options than they would, you know, at least heading into your kind of flashpoint clashes of the world. And a choice incredibly uncomfortable now on their table. Where do they go next?
I mean, I think it's rough no matter where you go to. I think the one that comes to mind is Runasapi. A lot of teams tend to play it nowadays. Practice that a lot. It comes out a lot when we're in these situations of choosing a push map. It's obviously something they'll have a bit of time to decide and kind of also get their brains back together, because it's the worst feeling when you obviously C9, but it's even worse when you lose the map, with that being a main reason for it. But either way, gonna have to see if that's going to be the case, Spectreon, because we are going to bring it to one more little break here. But on the other side of that, we will have one map to decide who will go to the winners finals and who's going to have to fight for the light in the lower bracket. You'll have to see on the other side of this break. we touted that this one would be a close battle, ladies and gentlemen, and thus it has come down to one final map here to decide who is going to move on to those winner finals and who will be forced to fight for their life in the lower bracket. It is currently a 2-2 matchup here between Yuurei Mirai and Big Man Ting. It has gone back and forth. We've had C9s, we've had misused ultimates, we've had Ajaxes from the Briggs. We have had a lot of things happen here today, and Spectron, all of it has to be decided with just one more map.
That it does. So it looks like we have that map chosen as well. Esperanza, by the looks of things, is where we are going to go next. It's a pretty reasonable map, I think, in terms of wanting to play this Farah Ash. The sightlines are long. There's kind of rooftops of the Farah to dilly-dally around on, so to speak. So I think it's a pick that will probably favor Yuurei Mirai, Big Man Ting. Remember, they're looking to take these fights as fast as possible, as generally when they're playing this Malga. That's something they'll be able to do, but it will be a little bit labored. So, I think this is the best pick they could have gone towards, but is it enough to win them the series? We'll have to wait and see. I think in that downtime, I reached out for teams to for comment. Yuurei Mirai didn't really say anything. I think they're just locked into the game, trying to figure out how to beat their opponent in the most dominant way possible. Big Man Ting, they said maybe touch the point.
I mean, to be fair, it's good advice, Spec. It's really good advice. It's a very
objective-based video game.
Objective-based video game. Who would have wondered? You gotta touch the point. But luckily, this point is gonna be constantly moving around. They're not gonna be deciding who's gonna take this one away. Whoever can push it further or finish the map even. We got to see who's gonna be able to do it on Esperanza, as we got some lobsters. Those are lobsters. Lobsters are crab. I'm pretty sure they're lobsters. I'm not the seafood expert. I'm not that guy. But
I would assume it's a lobster. I don't eat seafood. I'm aware of the concept of seafood. I have seen seafood generally. I don't think I've actually ever eaten it. So
wait,
I like fish. That's it.
I just realized that's a whole lobster and what's supposed to be a deep fryer. That is a interesting choice. But you know what else is interesting? Big Man Ting obviously trolling with the Ryan. Clearly,
it's not obvious. It's not obvious. They could just play Ryan.
Genuinely,
they could play Ryan Bastion, and I'll be surprised, but we'll see it. Obviously, it's the standard from Yuurei Mirai. That's exactly what we expect to see from them. Big Man Ting, moving over back to their standard heroes. It's going to be more of the same. We've seen this play before many, many times. You don't need me to tell you how it's going to play. I think the curious thing here is going to see what angle Zero attempts to play, that kind of a standard on Pharaoh. You want to just hover around that central column. But maybe that changes a little bit when you're playing into this Malga.
Yeah, 100% got to see this first fight. Going to be very important because remember, it can get out of hand very quickly considering where those checkpoints are and how some of these fights have to be engaged. Again, Lab is going to come down to Senna doing a lot on this armor, being able to find those hacks onto Santi and onto Zero right now. You see Zero is opting to play safe right now. They're waiting for this fight to open up a little bit more. Make sure to watch themselves, not be kind of in any compromising position. But this is a slow burner right now as Gahek is already in a lot of trouble hiding away.
Trying to greed that card deck for as long as possible, and they're finally forced to top it. You see how much spam they're eating as they just force the cart, which is all they can really do until Santi makes a mistake.
Yeah, and Gahek is the one making mistakes out here, getting forced around. Second time that they've dropped below that 100 health threshold, but again is being kept alive. But now it has come down to Yuurei Mirai to try to push through, but Santi a little too aggressive. Big Man Ting going on to a good start here. They play a dangerous game, but a dangerous game that they are going to come away the winners of as they're going to get that point. Slowly moving along here as Senna got to move up and already 70% to an EMP.
In these 5v5 team fights, it is Big Man Ting who will find the advantage every day of the weekend because of all the damage that Gahek 8, IQ Mighty, has a significant lead on this raid. I expect them just to go first with it in this fight. No reason to dilly-dally around. Senna going first doesn't cancel that plan.
And they're still going to pull the trigger and go for a 4v5 here, and it might still pay off as Santi perhaps thought they jumped back a little bit further. That's a fair thought process, but going to come to an end right now. We're going to see people get out, though, so Yuurei Mirai, the question is, can they realistically recontest?
Not before forward spawns, I'd very much think so. They could touch, but they'd be going in 2v3, 2v4. It just wouldn't be worth it. So forward spawns already unlocked here. Great work on those successive fights from Big Man Ting, who get an early lead into our final map.
Yep, Bob going to be online here along with this barrage right now. Likely to see a Bob be engaged here pretty early around this corner here, I imagine, but now going to be holding on to it. Senna is coming up close right now, barely managing to escape once again right now. So they're going to back out a little bit, perhaps really hoping they're going to be able to get this alive, but they got hit with the 2 directs, and that is devastating, and that could lead this fight to be already over as we're going to see Big Man Ting back out a little bit. But Rally comes through as we're going to see the engagement from both sides right now. And we have Gehek in the backline gets deleted, and now for Big Man Ting, you've got to hit a reset button.
It's not so bad for them, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't want Kart to be forced back that far, give up all that space, and then lose. But at the end of the day, popping only a rally, forcing your opponent's orbital ray gives you some very nice options into this upcoming battle. Obviously, Senna just gets kind of obliterated in that first fight, which is like rocketed, then like bunny hopped almost by Piku on that Ash. So it's not something you expect to see, but it gets the job done. Yuurei Mirai, Cage Barrage, surely going to be coming up next year. Big Man Ting, if they can live it, will be the victors of this fight.
Yep, it'd be very important, will be the benefactor of this fight. Except the Big Man Ting is really hoping for right now is the Cage Barrage going to come through. The barrage going to be used right now. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a time for Gehek to go down, and Sandra's going to move through. Going to find one, going to find two, and now it's the DPS trying to come together. PQ is hanging around the corner.
There we go.
It's got a 4K to their name. What a way to win the fight.
I was a little bit worried Senna's EMP would be a little bit late there, but it's just in time. Obviously, they trade out Gehek, the barrage, or not the barrage, sorry, the Blossom. It just cleans up the remaining members. And the Hellfire Shotguns as well onto those last two. Big Man Ting back onto the Robber as he dances with death with a little bit of an over-aggressive Shadow Step.
Yeah, right now, and obviously not able to get, man, lose Sandra, and you don't even manage to get back to the spawns either. You kind of took people off of the card, and now you're trying to play for something because you have no ultimates right now. You're walking into a Bob, you're walking into a Rally as they're trying to see if they can find anything in here. Unfortunately for Senna, I mean, they can't even peek their head out with just being turned on by everybody.
Okay, lead on the Orbital Ray. Surely it's what Big Man Ting play for here. They have no other options, but they're struggling to find engage. So split, so worried about every angle.
Yeah, they get split up a little bit right now as the ball's going to be thrown right in the center, and Alba just goes for it. Why not? Trying to help out. Unfortunately, the Orbital Ray is going to find Diddly Squad here. They're going to get eliminated, and now it's just Senna trying to get out with an EMP that is coming up soon, but you need it badly for this fight.
Yeah, I didn't really see what target they were going on. Normally, you want to just, like, hard obliterate the Malga. I guess they wanted to try and force backline, but it looked like Gehek went ahead of the Orbital Ray and got focused down. That was a really strange fight, so we'll see forward spawns now unlocked for Yuurei Mirai. The pendulum may be swinging back the other way, and the early lead that Big Man Ting accumulated, now just a couple meters.
Yeah, again, fight's very important. Senna's got to get this online as Santi being willing to back off, force everybody into open space, because that Reaper gets less value than it will when you have something like Ifara, like an Ash, that can get value being out in the open like this. Force them into a corridor. It's exactly what you want. EMP comes out. Gonna catch on to 4 whole members, but it's only got rid of 1 so far. Santi getting super low. Will be taken care of as now that bot is gonna start moving back the other way. EMP, once again, gonna save the day as the DPS go through it a lot. Gonna even be able to try to escape, but eventually, Big Man Ting gonna take it back.
Yeah, Piku will be able to escape with his life. That's the only member, Yuurei Mirai, with that particular honor, though. Lead maintained for Big Man Ting. Of course, this next fight for Big Man Ting, yeah, it sucks, but I think you just have to lose it. Going into too many ultimates to try and win. And investing here is just going to ruin your economy for the future. So we have to see them find a hard engage and go in with no ultimates.
Yeah, you just have to find that opportunity, and you can. If you manage to find Desi or Nyx in the wrong place at the wrong time early in this fight, it can be very devastating. But right now, Cage Fight is going to be used right now. Cage Fight going to find approximate value as IQ Mighty has already gone down, and guess what? That cart is already moving along here. With this coming to an end, Gehek is going to pull the trigger, and that's going to be so unnecessary. They get the barrage out, but, I mean, they were going to lose the lead anyway, but that is going to be a significant loss.
I didn't like the play at all, but honestly, considering it forces both the Rally and the Barrage, I think a mistake from Yuurei Mirai in themselves. It brings it right back round to a valuable fight, right? They spend 1 ult, they get 3 out. That's still a pretty strong eco fight. Obviously, lead back the other way is really uncomfortable for them. But as long as they can play a little bit slow, you know, charge up to a mirrored orbital raid, and they're still very comfortable heading into this fight.
Yep, 100% are in the situation. Obviously, they take the lead, and then they go back to the high ground immediately. There's no reason to put yourself at a purposeful disadvantage, as right now Bob is going to be ready, looking for an opportunity to use it, but it might not need it. Gehek has already gone down. Orbital Ray is cleaning up. Shop right out 0 already got a 2K to their name, and it's clean up time from here on out. 3 minutes on the clock, and Big Man Ting's lead has been extinguished, and it is floating away further and further.
Yeah, now flip side of things, I think Yuurei Mirai have to lose this fight no matter how Big Man Ting really plan this. As long as they don't spend, you know, 3 ults, they're pretty comfortable. They can get by with 1 or 2, you know, EMP Barrage, Rally Ray, anything like that, and they should be comfortable. As long as they don't use everything, though, they'll be okay to start snowballing this.
Yep, this is a very important fight win right now for Big Man Ting here. Right now playing around, Santi hanging it around the corner a little bit here. Pika still has a Bob ready to go right now, trying to find something. Assandra's forced around right now. Eventually gonna be forcing off the rally. Asanti's in a really rough spot right now, hanging around the back line. Bob eventually gonna be brought in right now. It's a rough situation, hard to really hack it, but eventually will be able to do so. Should see it get deleted as they all run past. The MP is ready. Yeah, you hazard to guess if they're gonna use it or not. You know they're thinking about it. You have these ready to go, but it looks like they're gonna take a quick little reset.
If you're Big Man Ting, you really want to try and win this with no ultimates now, and the barrage makes it much harder to do that.
Yeah, that is scary right now. Zero, if they get caught out, you might be able to no ult this fight, but if that isn't the case, I feel like you almost have to start thinking about using one of these right now. But if you have to use one, it's gonna have to be the MP. There's not a choice there. The Death Blossom's not gonna find that value without that, and they go up. It's gonna find 4 whole members. Zero is gonna go down, and they're gonna double down on ultimates and Spectron. I think that is a massive mistake.
I see why they did it, but it really sucks. You'd love to have that Blossom 4K Hex Cage now, but it gets them through. Unfortunately, you know, popping the Orbital Ray, getting it full kited the same way that rally is just, it's unacceptable. There's no two ways about it. So now we need to see a perfect early engage from Big Man Ting. They've secreted their Reaper in this side angle. That's probably their best plan here of finding value.
Yeah, and they realize they have the advantage. They know full on that Big Man Ting does not have much to work with or even combo in any sense right now. Escape Spike's going to be used. It finds nobody as Gag's going to find some on the other side. It's going to really not do a whole lot on either side right now as they're both going to get deleted. Just going to trade out Asante. He's focused on staying alive right now. And as this fight goes on further, it can be better for Big Man Ting. But unfortunately, they're going to get forced out big time. Going to see if everybody can round the corner. And it looks like they will. So now they get to engage.
And they can do it with Orbital Ray as well. And a pick onto Zero.
And now they're going to go for it. And now Santi's going to keep moving along the cart. Going to get hacked around right now. They're all going to turn on to Santi around. They can get taken care of them. But they're getting all the heals. Unfortunately, the heals are not going to be enough. Everybody has to back out. And now, Spectron, it can only come down to this. It is going to come down to likely one final fight.
Absolutely down to the wire. Rally the only ultimate on live now. If Senna can finish his EMP, that could spell curtains for Yuurei Mirai. The lead's so close to getting flipped over. They'll be able to touch before it does. This is it. A fight for the map and the series and winner's bracket.
Yep, Bob is ready to go. Sonder in a rough situation. Bob can be thrown in a very inconvenient spot right now, but Zero has already managed to find 2, and now Big Man Ting need to try to get out of town. Sonder is the realistic touch, and right now, it could all be curtains if they can't find it.
Yeah, I don't think they can as well. He's so far away, boops away. Wraith won't get it there in time. There's nobody who can get onto the objective. There's nobody but Yuurei Mirai who will be advancing forward as after an absolute slog of a series, they boot Big Man Ting down into the lower brackets. Oh, that was an absolute banger.
And you gotta think what would have happened if that Left Blossom was there for that final fight. It's gonna come into their minds. It's gonna sit there for a while. But they don't get to think on it too long. Like you said, gotta go fight for their lives. In the lower bracket of Sonder, an amazing 4K in that fight as well. And it is just, you said yourself, this was a slugger. This was a back and forth affair. This is what every Overwatch match should be. Back and forth, down to the wire, down to one final fight to win it all. Unfortunately, the ult advantage just wasn't there for Big Man Ting. They used their best things to get to that point in the first place.
Yeah, and in that final fight, if they can finish off Senna's EMP, then they can go first. It's okay, but she's just a couple percentage points away as well. You'll notice that she had to TP out, well, you know, farming the EMP charge early. If she doesn't get hit by, I'm not sure if it's a Far Rocket or an Ash Direct, but either way, you know, avoiding any of that, and we could be looking at an entirely different fight plan. But forcing the Sombra out, obviously, as well as not getting the EMP, in fact, it's also a lack of hit scan pressure to mark the Pharah flying forward. So, I mean, that fight came down to the absolute millimeters, because obviously that barrage was what closed things out. A game of inches, but when all is said and done, then, like I said, Yuurei Mirai will be the victors. Big Man Ting will drop down to the lower bracket to play 09-07 first, and if they win that, Everfrog will be the next opponent. And Yuurei Mirai now have a winner's final, a date with fate, as it were, against Completely Melted.
Yeah, gives a big opportunity to win that, move on to the grand final, secure their spot, and have that little bit of extra bit of time to readjust, because obviously you never know how things are going to change up in this meta. It is a strange world, but with the season, I don't remember when the season specifically ends. I know we're not too, like, massively far away. Do you happen to know the date for the
I'm going to find that out right now, so talk while I figure it out.
But obviously, it could be something right there, because it's very clear what the meta is, and sometimes Blizzard is good about forcing them way out of the meta, pushing somebody back in. So
December the 10th.
That is next week.
Yeah.
So things have a great possibility of changing. So for them, if they manage to win that match, I mean, they get to sit around and basically scrim for a week and a half of just doing stuff on the new patch. That is a massive advantage to have on your hands.
Oh, absolutely. And also, the teams who are good at this patch now, you're not sure what the changes are going to be. You know, you have a pretty good hunch that Malga Juno probably will be receiving nerfs, so you want to just schedule games as early as possible, get your wins in as early as possible, because, you know, when we get into the actual final, then we could be looking at a dive meta, we could be looking at a poke meta, a totally different set of skills, right, that actually got you to this point. So it's going to be a whole new day when Season 14 drops, and maybe even if we get a rematch of these two teams, it could go very differently. Of course, we're going to go to a short break. When we're back, we will have an interview with one of the members of Yuurei Mirai, so don't go anywhere, because we'll return in just a little bit.
Welcome back from the break, everybody. We have just finished up with a 5-map banger here between Yuurei Mirai and Big Man Ting, but Yuurei Mirai is going to come off the other side of the winner, gonna move on to those winner finals. We'll have an opportunity to fight to get into that first spot of the grand finals, but we will get there in time. What we have for you today is a lovely interview to join us today, and Taurus, she's the manager over on the side of Yuurei Mirai, and first of all, congratulations on a really impressive win.
Thank you so much. My heart is still really like racing because I was live in the budget with the boys, and it was really like hard to watch for me as well.
Yeah, it has to be that way, especially you end up going down to entire map 5. So I kind of want to know what your feelings were like watching that map 5 scenario, knowing that everything that you've kind of as this team has worked for is online. So what was kind of your thought process as you were all going into that final map?
Well, I'm a manager, like I am the manager since forever, kinda, and it's always hard to watch any match for me because I'm always rooting for them. But we were like confident because how can I say that they prepared really hard and like carefully for this match, and we played Senna and Sonder like in a different team composition like last weekend in the Overdrive Cup qualifier, and we got to the finals and played against Senna there, and we knew how strong they are and they can be, so we prepared really carefully for it, so we were confident but also really like respecting our opponents.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I want to ask about whether that some of that preparation was coming up with this Ash Farah comp you guys were playing the entire time. So, in general, I want to know, how did you guys come up with it? Was it kind of stolen from Twisted Minds? Did you settle in it yourselves? And what advances do you find?
So how can I tell? We
Without
didn't
leaking.
steal anything from Twisted Minds. Our
That's all from you.
hit scan Piku Kerpu is really strong on Ash and Widow. So our composition is kind of playing around him. And what my boys always say is like playing the protecting Mr. President. So yeah, we playing around our boys like their strength and their heroes, and also putting also in like the meta. So
And
that's
then
what
also,
we do.
yeah, and then also I want to say that obviously Piku just played a fantastic series of Overwatch there. I think one of the standout players, definitely in the lobby, at least in my eyes. I just generally want to know, is that just the standard for him, or is this a bit of a step up even for someone of his caliber?
It's actually like Piku is a really, really strong player. I always believed in his potential from the very start since I picked him up. And it just depends on his internet. But he promised Finland, right? But he promised to like fix it for the grand finals. He's lagging out a lot on really important officials sometimes, and it's just like makes us frustrated. But it is what it is. We try our hardest to work around it.
Yeah, sometimes the internet can be the most deadly enemy of all, but obviously got a good opportunity. Obviously, here in the upper finals, here got a chance to go into the grand finals. Obviously, we've already been talking about grand finals, and obviously, I think this team is very confident of going to those finals. And I mean, I'll ask this out the gate, going here.
Yeah.
Just in your personal perspective, going to the grand finals, what team would you like to see them go against personally?
So our next opponent is obviously completely melted.
Mhm.
So we're also really excited to play them, but we're also really confident. And we believe we might see Big Man Ting again.
Ooh.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I like that.
That's super interesting. I would love to see that.
I got one more question actually for you. One thing we just started discussing towards the end of the cast was obviously season 14 is coming in about a week, right? Is that something that you guys are kind of thinking about? Obviously, it's going to be, in theory, maybe a big meta change, going into the end of playoffs. Is that something you're worried about at all, or you'll just take it in your stride?
We take it in our stride. Like we yeah, it's like we need to see what next patch is gonna give us here. That kind of.
Thank you.
Hey, makes complete sense, and obviously we want to let you go celebrate with your team. But if you want to take this opportunity to say anything, if there's anybody you want to thank, we're gonna open up the floor to you to be able to do so. So you're free to speak as you'd like.
Thank you so much. I want to really give a big shout out to our new coach, Yuurei. She's been nothing but like lovely to the team, and of course our ARC, Yuurei Esport and Delta. They believe so much in us, and we're always supportive from the very start. And lots of love to everyone, our friends and mates out there that support this team. You guys give the boys the confidence to try harder. So thank you very much.
Absolutely fantastic to hear. So we're gonna let you go celebrate with the rest of your team. Congratulations on a big win, and of course, best of luck to yourself and Yuurei Mirai for the rest of the playoffs.
Thank you very much. Bye.
See ya. Spectron, it is not every day we get to talk to a manager in these interviews, but I love the perspective of managers because they will say things that perhaps when we get a regular, player in here, that they won't quite say. I love it.
Yeah. I think that's definitely right. I think there's maybe a bit more focus on the actual personalities involved. And, normally when you speak to players, it's all just mechanics or game theory. And it's definitely a very different vibe. Definitely something that we could probably stand to think about a little bit more maybe when we talk about Overwatch. But yeah, just a great interview. Obviously, off to the back of an absolutely electric series.
I mean, absolutely electric right now. If you weren't watching that, if you are watching one of these matches later tonight, you see there was a map 5. I didn't get to watch that. Well, you should have been here for it. But the bright side is you might still get to see one today because Spectrum, we still have a lot of matches lined up here today because it is playoffs time. There are matches happening constantly. We got to make sure to break this down because we will be here later tonight, thankfully, with that Demon Kittens match, and they're going to be going up against, well, guess what, Spectron? I was given one piece of information.
Vicious Unforgiven.
But either way, we do have Squirt Squad and Big Tar Fan 600 going to be on at the same time, and then Short Bus Vicious Sharks going to round up the day. Obviously, a little bit of a break between all that. That first match is going to be at 8 p.m. EST, which is approximately 4 hours from now, so everybody's got an opportunity to kind of relax, take some there, clean things up a little bit. Maybe your dish, you have a sink full of dishes you got to take care of. Maybe you did eat something, take some time to do that because there's a lot to watch. And I mean, you'll be able to watch 2 CGL matches at the same time. I mean, that is my ideal night, Spectrum, I'll be honest.
Listen, I mean, you've got 2 eyes. You might as well watch 2 CGL matches at the same time, right? Streamed on CGL 1, CGL 2, CGL 3. If we get straight overwhelmed, we'll have to wait and see about that. But I think, now we've got our schedule out the way, I think that's been more or less everything from us, Hunter.
I mean, it realistically has, and obviously it's fantastic to have these map 5 situations. We don't get to see it every day. You go through the regular season, it's a lot of 3 Overwatch, but you get here in the playoffs, this is where we find those map 5s, and maybe we'll be lucky enough in the grand finals to get ourselves a map 7. It has happened in the past, it is bound to happen again, but you're 100% correct, as that's kind of gonna round out the day here. But obviously we're gonna be back later tonight with these matches. Spectre and I personally gonna be on that Demon Kittens and Vicious Unforgiven match. But obviously, once again, it's a pleasure to have you all out here. Ton of Overwatch coming out later tonight. We hope you come around because we will see you here later tonight.